This is a News 2 breaking news alert.
And after nearly 3 years, former Metro Police Officer Andrew Delkey is led out of the courtroom after a guilty plea. That was the calm after anger, emotion, and near physical confrontation in that courtroom.
The citizens are begging you, Judge Monty Watkins, to do the right thing and reject this plea deal.
Yes.
It's not fair. It's not justice. It's not justice.
Daniel Hambrick's family upset about the district attorney's decision to cut a deal just weeks before the murder trial was set to begin. The family and protesters making loud calls for justice. In the end, the district attorney said it came down to the facts of the case.
If we tried this case, we're ready to try this case. We've been ready. We've been working for 3 years to get this case ready. But what would the result of the case be? There was a very large percentage that would have been a hung jury.
Coverage continues. Welcome to News 2 at 11. I'm Neil Lauren.
And I'm Nicole Smith. We begin with the high emotions inside a Nashville courtroom this morning as the family of Daniel Hambrick faced the former Metro police officer who killed him in 2018.
So the judge did accept the plea deal and sentenced Andrew Delkey to 3 years in prison. We'll get to that in just a moment. But first, Elizabeth Lane is live outside the courthouse with what led to the courtroom being cleared.
Neil and Nicole, emotional is really putting it lightly here. You could totally feel and understand the pain that Daniel Hambrick's mother has experienced over the last few years. But then things really started to take a turn, escalating inside the courtroom. I want to take you to some video from those moments shortly after Hambrick's mother lunged at the district attorney. Now, this was shortly after she began screaming profane language during her impact statement. She also directly threatened former Metro Officer Andrew Delkey, the defendant. Now, at one point, protesters banged on the doors and walls of the courtroom. In her impact statement, Hambrick's mother spoke about her only son and how his death has affected her. Here's part of that statement.
Because of you! Because of you! I lost my son father because of you! Because of you! He killed himself! I hate you! I hate you! I don't accept your apology.
And Andrew Delkey also shared a statement with the court before accepting that plea deal. Take a listen.
Mrs. Hambrick lost her son that day, and I am responsible for her loss. Excuse me. These are facts that I will have to live with for the rest of my life.
And once that hearing did resume and conclude, we watched as former Metro Nashville police officer Andrew Delkey was handcuffed and led out of the courtroom. He will remain in custody for the foreseeable future. And right now, protesters who were inside the courtroom beforehand remain outside the front of the Davidson County Courthouse. Reporting live in downtown Nashville, Elizabeth Lane, News 2.
All right, Elizabeth, thank you so much. The judge did end up bringing the parties back into the courtroom.
Josh Breslow continues that part of our coverage from the WKRN.com alert desk.
Yeah, they were outside of that courtroom for a while. When they went back in, though, Hambrick's family, including his mother, were not inside there. Judge Monty Watkins addressed Andrew Delkey, telling him that he would accept the terms of that deal. So he sentenced Delkey to 3 years behind bars. Take a listen.
All right, I find you guilty. I find there's a factual basis for the plea and that the plea is freely and voluntarily given. In case 2019A26, I sentence you to a term of 3 years as a standard range 1 offender. That sentence is to serve. There will be no petitions for early release. And that'll be it.
Yeah, very quick there. So after that, they did leave the courtroom. Delkey has been transported to the Davidson County Jail's male facility. That's over there in Harding Place. We're told the former Metro officer will serve his sentence in the county jail. Neil?
All right, and the emotions inside the courtroom that you saw also spilling outside its walls as protesters gathered to voice their disappointment with the plea deal and sentencing. Valencia Wicker is live to explain their concerns.
Well, you know what, Neil, Elizabeth truly put this story into perspective. To call it emotional is truly an understatement. We were here as protesters gathered, they chanted, they cried, there was anger. We were also here as they watched on live stream that confrontation between the Hambrick family and the DA. Of course, that's when the energy truly did explode outdoors. And then we were also here as the Hambrick family walked outside. We can tell you that Daniel Hambrick's mother was extremely emotional. Screaming at some points. We did hear from Daniel Hambrick's cousin, who was very upset, asking the judge to decline that plea deal. And then we also heard from Daniel Hambrick's uncle, who was very open, talking about the pain, asking all of the folks here outside, how would you feel if it were your family member who had been killed? He was very emotional, very transparent. And then we also heard from the family's attorney. This is what she had to say.
It was like, reliving his death, all of these emotions. Just imagine being prepared to go to trial. You think you're about to go to trial, and then someone drops all of this on your lap. And she has lost her son. She has lost her father. All within these 3 years. She lost Daniel's father, who killed himself. One of the guys in the car with Daniel killed himself. It's just been a lot of loss for her.
Certainly a lot of loss for her. The Hambrick family left just moments ago, and we are told from Mrs. Hambrick herself, this is not the end of her fight. For now, Valencia Wicker, News 2.
Lindsay, thanks so much. And we're hearing from the District Attorney General about why he agreed to that plea deal. Here's what Glenn Funk had to say after the judge accepted that deal.
Daniel Hambrick did in fact have a gun, and he was carrying it in his hand. That does not mean that an officer has a right to shoot him in the back when the man's just running away. Daniel Hambrick did not ever threaten Andrew Delkey. He never tried to shoot Andrew Delkey. He just tried to run away. But the fact that he had that gun in his hand, even though I don't think it meant that Andrew Delkey had a right to shoot and kill Daniel Hambrick, the reality is that would have made it a much more difficult case to get 12 jurors to unanimously believe that this was a murder case.
Under the terms of the plea deal accepted by Delkey, he waived his right to an appeal or to ask for probation. Now, there's still a lot more to this case, which again has been 3 years in the making now. We'll continue to have coverage on the fallout of the plea deal coming up later on during News 2 at 11 and throughout the day on WKRN.com.